Whether we're talking about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or a brand new Mario Kart, this franchise is one of the most fun to speculate about new features for. I mean, we can get new tracks, new characters, new kart parts, and new items. And that's what this video is gonna be about. In fact, this video features 50 new tracks I wanna see, 50 new characters I wanna see, 50 new karts I wanna see, and 50 new items I wanna see, and even some super secret bonus content if you get all the way to the end. Shh, don't tell anyone though. Will any of these get added? I mean, probably. There's like 200 ideas here. Will all of them get added? Oh, of course not. But it's not gonna stop me from talking about it because, well, it's just plain fun. So strap in, buckle in, check the chapters down below to skip between if you've already seen some stuff, and let's jump right into the 200 things I need to see added to Mario Kart. First up, 50 brand new courses. Starting off, we have Goomba's Garden. We got Mario Circuit, Luigi Circuit, Daisy Circuit, Peach Gardens, but we've never gotten a track themed around Bowser's biggest enemy, the Goomba. A track set in a lush mushroom garden with the Goombas everywhere and piranha plants munching at you? This would be fun. Next up, we have Tatanga's Space Station. Tatanga is a mysterious alien from an unknown planet that you see in Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. Given how cool his spaceship looks, it only makes sense he'd have a massive space station with obstacles like laser beams and robotic enemies to dodge. Think of this as kind of like a Bowser's Castle, but set in space. Number 3, Amusement Park Adventure. Baby Park has teased us for many years with all these cool rides that we don't get to ride on. An amusement park that we actually get to go, oh, maybe for a second I'm driving in a haunted house. Oh, maybe for a second I'm driving on a roller coaster. Then I'm doing tricks off a Ferris wheel. There's so many cool ideas here. Next, we have Birdo's Eggstravaganza. This would be a track set in a colorful springtime garden with eggs being launched at you, presumably from Birdo. Next, we have Luxury Resort Run. This would be a track set in a luxury hotel, dodging in and out of, pools and spas. Kind of like the 3-star hotel from Koopa's Tycoon Town in Mario Party 8. I don't know if anyone gets that reference. Let me know in the comments down below. Next, we have Dory's Deep Sea Dive, which would be a fully underwater track mixed between this section of Dolphin Shoals and this section of Wario Shipyard. Out of all the defunct Nintendo series, Golden Sun is probably the most beautiful. Even though the original game is obviously, done in a pixel art style, the locations are just stunning, and a track that would allow you to drive around the areas of Golden Sun would be so cool. Just look at the pictures on screen and you'll know what I mean. For number 8, we have Little Mac's Punch Out. Think Ribbon Road, where everything's super big around you and all the carts are super tiny, but instead of being in a kid's bedroom, you're in a boxing ring. There could even be a boxing match going on maybe the 3rd lap, so you gotta dodge and weave as Little Mac is maybe boxing Glass Joe and his feet are dropping down onto the racetrack, potentially squishing racers. This could be so neat. Number 9, we have Factory Fallout. Toad's Factory is awesome, and I'd love a sequel to this track. Give this track more moving machinery and some toxic waste to avoid. Or number 10, Robot Factory Race, a track set in a robot factory where there's moving parts and lasers to dodge. This next one's one of my favorites, but before we get to number 11, it's 2023, a new year, and I have a challenge. Please, if you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button so we can pass Wii U Stop, our arch nemesis, our biggest rivals in subscribers. Please help us out. If you're not already subscribed, hit the button down below. Alright, number 11, we have Hollywood Hustle. Imagine driving in and out of movie sets or maybe in a huge movie lot. One second you're in a western, one second you're in a, sci-fi. That would be cool. And Circus Circuit, bit of a tongue twister there, would also be super neat. Driving across a tightrope in a big top circus, so awesome. Pirates Plunder would be awesome too, a track set in a pirate cove with treasures, anchors, cannons, and pirate ships to avoid. And then a complete 180 to Diamond Dash. No, not these diamonds. This would be a track set in a baseball diamond. And hey, this already kind of happens a little bit in LA Laps. Moo Moo Meadows is awesome, but all the other farm animals are feeling left out. Farmyard Folly would allow you to drive in barns with a lot more other animals. And for number 16, I just want any track from Kirby's Air Ride. I love Kirby's Air Ride. If they could bring back any track, that would be so cool. For number 17, Starfy's Underwater Adventure. Starfy's Underwater Adventure would be a great way to return to this little star's life. I love the juxtaposition between obviously a star, which is up in the sky, and the track being set underwater. Canyon Caper would be super cool. Imagine driving around the Grand Canyon. Or if we wanted to keep it in the Mario world, we could do Conch-Door Canyon from Super Mario 3D World. Superhero City Circuit would be awesome. Imagine a massive city with tall buildings and heroic landmarks, and maybe you can glide across the skyline and feel like a real superhero. Jungle Jaunt could be just another awesome Donkey Kong course, and Tetris Pirate Plunder could be pretty similar to Peach Beach with the pirate ships shooting cannonballs at you, but give it a Wind Waker theme because Tetra is awesome. You might might be able to tell that I want a sports-themed track because Football Field Frenzy would be the same thing as the baseball one from earlier, but in an American football field. Here we have Neon Nights. I love the aesthetic of Neo Bowser City. The nighttime Neo Tokyo-esque buildings are so cool. What if we mixed that with a track like Mute City that had a bunch of high-speed sections, so you're really zooming past these buildings? Toy Store Tumble would be a track set in a toy store. You'd be able to dodge toys and stuffed animals on shelves, and then Sports Arena Showdown, this could just be all the sports arenas. Maybe you glide through a basketball hoop, then onto a diving board in a pool, not to be beat out by Rainforest Rally, track number 26. Diving through waterfalls would be awesome. And then what about Beachside Brawl, which could be a beach resort with palm trees and sand castles you have to navigate. Tears of the Kingdom is coming out soon, so what if you could drive through under Hyrule, because that's one of the only things we know, will be in Tears of the Kingdom, at least, if this initial trailer is anything to believe. Hyrule Caves would be sick, and going from sick to sweet, we have Candy Factory Chaos. Moving to number 30, we have Futuristic Lab Frenzy. Futuristic Laboratory with test tubes and machines to dodge. It kind of reminds me of Helix's stage from ARMS. And then Food Factory Frenzy. This would just be like the candy one, but with not candy, with actual food. Sunshine Airport is awesome, but most of the track takes place outside of the airport. Airport Sprint would be awesome if you're driving from terminal to terminal and maybe, you go inside a plane or something. That would be neat. And then Construction Chaos could be a city under construction with scaffolding like in New Donk City or, stuff like that. Moving on to Tingle's Treasure Hunt, this could be a track set in a dark forest featuring obstacles like falling rupees and Tingle's hot air balloons. And then for number 35, I don't know anything about Xenoblade Chronicles. My sister has played all the games, she loves them, but all I know is that I'll see screenshots and I'm like, wow, I really wish I had the time and patience to give a game like this a shot, because any location from that game would make a beautiful Mario Kart track. Like, just visually, this game, all the games have such interesting locales. So yeah, I want a Xenoblade track, sue me. Then we have Fairy Tale Circuit coming in at 36. A track set in a fairy tale kingdom with castles and enchanted forests to explore, that sounds cool. But not as cool as number 37, Zoo Sprint. We talked before about seeing a bunch of barnyard animals, but driving through a full zoo and maybe an aquarium section would be awesome. Let's go back to Ribbon Road. The idea of being super small in a kid's bedroom or something, that reminds me of something. In fact, it reminds me of a series. Yeah, Chibi Robo basically did that whole gimmick as an entire game, and Chibi Robo's Time Trouble, which could be a track set in a cluttered living room with toys and gadgets to navigate, would be super cool. Falcon's Fury, we need another F-Zero track. The two that are in the game are two of the best tracks in the game. I mean, Falcon's Fury, I don't even know what they could do for this, but it would be awesome. And then think about this, Nabbit's Thieving Run. What do we know about Nabbit? Well, not much, but he does love to steal things. Maybe a track in a city where you're like driving into a bank and then driving out like a busted hole in the wall, and meanwhile there are a bunch of cop cars zooming around as obstacles because they're trying to chase Nabbit, who just robbed this bank. Pikmin 4 is coming out, so for number 41, Pikmin Planet. That would be super duper cool. There are all sorts of creatures that they could pull for this. And for number 42, let's talk about Grumble Volcano for a minute. It's a great track, and I love the gimmick that the track crumbles, but for a track, set about being in a volcano, you don't spend that much time actually in the volcano. Volcano Valley would be a track fully set in the volcano and act kind of as a sequel to Grumble Volcano. Volcano. I just said that word so many times, it sounds like nothing now. Haunted Swamp Safari would be a safari set in a haunted swamp with murky water and spooky creatures to avoid. And then Medieval Madness, bro. What would be cooler than riding in a medieval village, going up to a castle, giant dragons jumping down? Hey, there are dragons in Mario now, and you could even dress up as a knight in Odyssey. It has to happen. Haunted Hallways would be kind of like Twisted Mansion, but with more of a focus on the supernatural, like flying books and spectral enemies. Next, coming into the final 5, we have the Power Plant. Driving within a power plant with a bunch of, electrical currents around acting as enemies, or I guess more so obstacles, would be a super neat gimmick, and not one that I think we've had in Mario Kart. Space Station Sprint, man, I love the idea of going into an actual space station. There could be full zero gravity sections. It would be so cool. Music Festival Mania would be awesome if you drove on the stage of a music festival while a band was performing, and then you had to like dodge people in the crowd. Kind of like Electrodrome, but not really a full, EDM thing, and more just like an actual music festival. Next, we have Ski Resort Slalom. If you ever played the game Wii Ski, you'd kind of know what I'm talking about. Basically, the final lap of Mount Wario, but like as a whole thing. And then last but not least, Cappy's Cap Collector, a track set in the Cap Kingdom of Mario Odyssey, but when you get to the end of the first lap, you get teleported by Cappy to another kingdom. Each lap would be a different kingdom from Mario Odyssey, and this is insanely ambitious, but screw it, it's my list, and I think that's so cool. Hopefully you enjoyed those 50 tracks, but there's no point in having racetracks at all if you can't actually race on them. And who do you race on them with? Different characters. So without further ado, here are 50 brand new characters I'd love to see added. Starting off with number 1, we have Prince Florian, the Prince of the Flower Kingdom. We are going to learn a lot more about this little guy in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. We don't really know what impact he has on the story just yet, but he seems to be a very important piece of the puzzle, and anytime a mainline 2D or 3D Mario introduces any sort of new enemy or sidekick, I always love it when they end up getting added in as a Mario mainstay. Just look at Rosalina, she was a sidekick in Super Mario Galaxy, and now she's a mainstay in the Mario universe. Prince Florian being a playable racer would be awesome. Number 2, we have Charge and Chuck. In Mario Kart Tour, this character is kind of associated with like the LA Laps course, and again, that is also definitely going to make its way through the Booster Course Pass, so Charge and Chuck is definitely possible as well. Number 3, we have Nabbit. At number 4, we have a brand new enemy. Introduced in Super Mario Bros. Wonder, this is the Mumsy. Mumsies are a mummified enemy where you pull on this string to destroy them. I'm just gonna be honest, I love the design of these things. Will they ever be added into Mario Kart? No, I don't think we'll even ever see these again outside of Mario Bros. Wonder. But that's a shame because the design is so iconic, they could totally be a staple up there with Dry Bones. And then similarly, at number 5, we have Mamas. These are also new enemies introduced in Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and their mouths get huge as they run and try and eat you. Yeah, these things are pretty weird, but just look at this. Tell me this isn't the funniest Mario enemy design almost ever. I mean, these things look hilarious, and I'd love to be able to drive around as them. Don't even ask me how they drive or grab onto the steering wheel. I have no idea. Number 6, we have Paratroopa. This is basically just Koopa Troopa with wings, but at the same time, this character was also in Double Dash, so it kind of at least makes a little bit more sense. And number 7, we have Honey Bee. Pretty sure Queen Bee or something was in Mario Kart 7, so yeah, it's definitely possible. Jumping back to Mario Wonder, we have these gopher running guys. I don't really know what they're called. I don't know if they have an official name yet, but I think they look hilarious and they'd be money in the game. And then also, at number 9, we have the Bull Rush enemy. These bulls have an entire stampede based around them as a wonder effect in Mario Wonder. Again, I just love that Mario Wonder is giving us all sorts of new characters. We haven't gotten like brand new Mario enemies or characters in a while, so I just think this is awesome. For number 10, we have Hammer Bro. Number 11 is Boomerang Bro. Number 12 is Fire Bro. Number 13 is Ice Bro. And number 14 is Sumo Bro. All of these characters would be awesome to see in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and while I listed them off here as separate characters, at least Hammer, Boomerang, Fire, and Ice could definitely just be alternates of each other. The Sumo Bro is way like bigger though, so that wouldn't work. Speaking of these different types of bros, at number 15 we have the Pusher Bro, which is what I'm calling this enemy from Super Mario Bros. Wonder that just pushes blocks. Hey, I figured it deserves to be added if the other ones are because it's a new variant of Hammer Bro. I think that's pretty cool. For number 16 we have Dixie Kong, and number 17 we have Cranky. I'm a huge Donkey Kong fan, so although it would be kind of repetitive, I'd love to see the entire Kong crew make their way back into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. For number 18 we have Monty Mole. He was actually playable in Super Mario Party, and even though I hate Super Mario Party, I think the roster was pretty good, so it would be interesting to see him added into 8 Deluxe. And then number 19 and number 20 we have Captain Toad and Captain Toadette. Now let me keep it a stack with you guys. I definitely think Nintendo can, should, and probably will add in different alternate costumes for pre-existing characters, and if they do that, I think Captain Toad and Toadette should probably be added in as alternates for both Toad and Toadette respectively. Even if they're technically not the same character, I think it just makes sense. All you're really adding is a headlamp, a pickaxe, and like a backpack. But that's not what this video is about, and in my opinion they are somewhat unique enough to get their own driver slot in this video, as in Mario Kart Tour they actually have their own icons and they're not considered to be alternates of Toad and Toadette in that game. For number 21 we have King Bob-omb, and number 22 we have the last Super Mario Bros. Wonder character in this video, and that is Elephant Mario. I'm sorry, I just had to put it in. I know another variant of Mario is a little weird because we already have Tanuki and Metal and Gold and Baby Mario and all of them, but honestly I just think a elephant version of Mario, like being able to drive as Elephant Mario
Come on, comment down below. Would this not be hilarious? Like, I feel like I'd only use Elephant Mario if he somehow got added into any sort of Mario Kart.
At number 22, we have Kamek. Kamek was originally supposed to be in Super Mario Kart for the SNES, so she should make her long overdue return here. Speaking of the original SNES Mario Kart, Donkey Kong Jr. would be hilarious to see make a return. And then coming in at the number 24 spot, we could have a 2D version of Donkey Kong Jr. This is what we have in Mario Kart Tour right now, so it would be interesting to see this kind of 2D pixel art style within Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Speaking of it, I have to add in a 2D Mario. Again, I just think this is too cool of an idea to not at least bring up here. Mario Kart Tour does it really interestingly, and I mean, hey, it looks okay in that game. Like, it's weird to see, you know, the clashing art styles, but it doesn't, like, ruin the immersion or anything. Speaking of ruining immersion, number 26 in this list is a giant subscribe button behind the wheel of a cart that just drives around. Alright, for real though, the real number 26 driver is Cappy, because damn, Cappy would be awesome in this game. I really thought that when Mario Odyssey came out, Cappy would then be added to, like, every single potential spin-off and everything. That was not the case, but I wish it was. So put him in Mario Kart, and I will forgive all your past transgressions, Nintendo. I mean, come on. With number 27, we have Professor Egad. This little scientist from the Luigi's Mansion franchise would be super funny to see driving around. Coming in at number 28, we have Boom Boom, and following that up at 29, we have Pom Pom. Now, these two characters aren't necessarily Koopalings, but they would fit right in alongside all the Koopalings, which are obviously already in this game. And at number 30, we have Spike. I think this little green guy would be hilarious to see driving a kart.
Hey guys, it's PJ, and number 31 is going to be a Pianta from Super Mario Sunshine, because I just love that game. I think it would be so funny to see these dudes just driving around any course in the game.
Thank you, PJ. Yeah, that would be absolutely awesome. And then coming in at number 32, going from Sunshine to Galaxy, we have Aluma. I guess this didn't really make sense, because now we're kind of jumping back to Sunshine with Toadsworth for number 33. Obviously, he's in that game's opening cutscene. And then coming in at number 34, we have Madame Brood from Super Mario Odyssey. Speaking of Odyssey, let's continue with the rest of the Broodals being Topper, Harriet, Rango, and Spewart. Then at number 39, we have the Goomba. Moving on to number 40, this one's probably my favorite in this entire video. What about this blue shell looking Koopa guy from the Mario movie? I just think this is hilarious because he's like, we've never seen a blue shelled Koopa like this before, and obviously the blue shell, like, you know, comes from Mario Kart, like that's the origins of it, at least within the game universe. And this guy actually seems to have a pretty prominent role in the movie from what we've seen as Bowser's like second right-hand man after Kamek. So yeah, I'd love to see this guy drivable in Mario Kart. I think that would be super funny. Moving into number 41, the final 10 characters here are not going to be Mario themed characters at all, but instead just from other Nintendo franchises. I know some of you like that idea, I know some of you don't, but let me know down in the comments your reasoning. Like, do you want Mario Kart to just stay Mario Kart, or would you be fine if it turned into more of a Nintendo Kart style thing? Regardless, number 41, we have Rob, who was actually playable in Mario Kart DS, so obviously that makes a lot of sense, like why they would add him back into 8 Deluxe. For number 42, we have Zelda, which would have to also include her Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom costume or like look as a potential variant, in the same way that Link obviously has his like, you know, typical green tunic and then a Breath of the Wild style. For number 43, we have Olimar. Olimar could have some Pikmin like bouncing on his head or just, you know, walking around on his cart. And for number 44, we have Kirby, who would totally fit right in because A, Kirby's Air Ride is a game that exists and is awesome, and B, if you've ever seen Rosalina's introduction trailer for Super Smash Bros. 4 on Wii U, the entire bit there is that Kirby was like kind of playing Mario Kart. He was on Rainbow Road. It's a cool little trailer. For number 45, we have Ash Ketchum, who actually just as I'm recording this had his like last Pokemon anime episode ever air or something like that. I don't know, I don't follow the anime, but any type of Pokemon trainer type thing would be super cool. And then for numbers 46, we have Samus, with Metroid maybe making a big return to form with Metroid Prime 4 hopefully coming out soon maybe. Samus would be awesome to see. And then number 47, Mr. Game & Watch. As I already mentioned in this video, there's already 2D versions of Donkey Kong Jr. and like an SNES version of Mario on Mario Kart Tour, so Game & Watch like style wise would kind of just be the exact same thing in the way that it's like kind of always a 2D sprite. For number 48, we have Fox McCloud, and number 49, we have Pit. Finally, number 50, I think if any one character were to get in on this list, I would choose this one, Captain Falcon. I mean, his car is already in the game. We already have 2 F-Zero tracks. Please, Captain Falcon, make it into the Booster Course Pass as one of the 5 remaining characters characters, but let me know down in the comments below, what's your Captain Falcon? Like, what's the character you guys want more than anything else? And I'll tell you what I want more than anything else. I want Nintendo to start getting creative. I mean, look at Mario Kart. You can race in so many different karts, but a lot of them are just that. They're just cars. There are so many hilarious, wild, crazy ideas they could pull from the Mario universe as stuff to actually drive in or use as gliders or wheels, etc. That next up we have 50 of them, starting off with the Dory Kart. It would be hilarious to be able to drive a kart version of this lovable blue dinosaur. And number 2 is the Plessy Kart. I mean, I love Plessy. I can't include Dory and not include Plessy. It just had to be in here. For number 3, we have Glydon from Super Mario Odyssey as a glider. Glydon was a capture in that game, and he basically just was a glider. He would allow you to glide on over to some other part of the map. Putting a Glydon inspired glider makes too much sense. And then next up we have the Piranha Plant pipe wheels. These green pipes are one of the most iconic images in all of Mario. Let's just shrink them down and make them wheels. Coming in at number 5, we have the minecart from Donkey Kong Country. The minecart levels are devious, and it would make too much sense to have this in. It also could double as like Captain Toad's minecart, which I guess is already in Tour, so maybe this one could actually happen. Next, we have a balloon glider. Balloons are essentially the one-ups of the Donkey Kong Country games, and balloon-themed gliders would be too funny. Next up, I can't bring up Donkey Kong Country in a video all about vehicles without mentioning Gangplank Galleon, which is King K. Rool's signature ship in the Donkey Kong Country game. We already have the land ship, but getting a Gangplank Galleon themed kart would be amazing. And then next up, in Metro Kingdom, you can capture a manhole. So why not turn those into wheels? Literally driving with manhole cover wheels would be hilarious. And then continuing with the Metro Kingdom, we have the taxi cart. This isn't technically a cart, but hey, bikes are in this game. Giving us the moped motor scooter bike also from the Metro Kingdom would be so funny. And then a Jaxi themed cart. The Jaxi is the lion statue you can ride around in Sand Kingdom. That thing moves so fast that we have to be able to ride it in 200cc. Like, that would be perfect. Follow that up with another Odyssey reference. We have the Sherm cart. The tanks from Mario Odyssey. Imagine playing Mario Kart in a tank. That would be crazy. Next, we have something that doesn't make sense at all, but a Sherm is a tank, and tanks don't actually really have wheels. They have these like tread things. What if somehow you could equip treads to your carts? Obviously, they wouldn't really do anything special. They would just act as another form of wheels, and these would never happen because they would probably have to remodel like every single cart in order to make this work. But having treads would be hilarious. That'll never happen though. Let's go back to stuff that actually could happen, starting off with the Manta Ray glider from Super Mario Galaxy. You ride on these Manta Rays in Galaxy, but what if you had one as a glider? Luigi's Mansion 3 introduced the plunger mechanic, and since then plungers have kind of been synonymous with the Poltergust, at least in my opinion. So adding in plunger themed wheels as a nod to Luigi's Mansion would be amazing. Next, we have the Goomba shoe cart. These green shoes that Goombas so often somehow find themselves in. This would be hilarious as a cart. It could definitely work. And then you know this giant eel from Super Mario 64? It goes by a bunch of different names, either the Unagi, Moray eels, Ma Ray. All I know is this thing is absolutely terrifying, but somehow being able to like drive in it would be so sick. You could shrink this thing down to a cart. It's possible. And then speaking with the underwater enemies, we have Sushi Cart. Sushi's actually the name of the sharks in Mario. There are some in New Super Mario Bros. DS. There are some in Super Mario 64. And the Sushi Racer from Mario Kart Tour is already modeled after it. So it's definitely possible to see added. And then speaking of sushi, I think the next one would just be like rolls of sushi as wheels. I think that's also really funny. Next, we have either a paper cart or paper wheels, which is obviously inspired by Paper Mario. We already have an origami glider in 8 Deluxe, so this would make too much sense. And then what about a Moo Moo cart, which is literally a mechanical cow, the same cows from Moo Moo Meadows that you can then get in, drive around. That would be hilarious. Pom Pom in Super Mario 3D World uses these shurikens, and they could definitely work as wheels. Obviously, they would have to be made round because you can't really drive around on a shuriken, but the design of them at least could definitely be on wheels. And next up, we have the overall glider. Mario's iconic overalls in a glider. It would be hilarious. This one actually makes sense. The cape glider, obviously pulling from the cape feather from Super Mario World. And then next up, you remember these oil drums from Wrecking Crew? Yeah, let's just make them into wheels. They're circular enough, right? The car from Mario Party 9 is already a car. I mean, this is probably the most slam dunk easy one on this entire list. And you know what else is a slam dunk? You hitting the subscribe button. If you're enjoying the content, hit the button. You can always change your mind later. Coming in at number 27, we have the Royal Wheels. This would literally just be Peach's crown, or maybe even the Super Crown from Mario U Deluxe, Switch, whatever that game's called. Next up, we have a Starship Mario Kart. This would be like really stupid. If you don't know, Starship Mario is the hub world in Super Mario Galaxy 2. It's literally a planet that is also a starship that is captained by this big fat purple Luma named Lubba, and it is shaped like Mario. Mario. How this exists, I don't know. If we could sit in this and drive it around, it would probably be the funniest thing of all time. Speaking of Lubba, Lubba's big enough. Well, okay, let's not shame Lubba here, but he's big enough to be a glider. A Lubba-themed glider would be hilarious. And then, speaking on the Mario Galaxy train, we have the spin drill wheels. The spin drill is a very neat power-up in Galaxy. They could even have the drill part kind of sticking out. Obviously, it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't, like, attack the other person or pop their tires, although that would be a cool gimmick for a future Mario Kart. Next up, we have the Koopa Troopa car. This would be from the 3D World theme in Super Mario Maker 2. Next, we have the Jellyfish glider. Technically, I think these things are called jelly beams, like in the Mario universe, but they're jellyfish. That's like what they are. Having this thing as a glider would be awesome. And then next up, we have the Thwomp wheels. Technically, these are called Groll. They're just rolling, spiky, thwomp-looking wheel type things, and hey, they would fit on a car. Next, we have the Ostro bike. An Ostro is a ostrich-looking enemy from Super Mario Bros. 2. And look, Shy Guys can ride it. You can play as Shy Guy in Mario Kart. It makes too much sense. It's almost confirmed, right, guys? Sticking on the Super Mario Bros. 2 train, we have the Magic Carpet glider. I am actually surprised this has never, to my knowledge, been a cart. It seems a bit too obvious, right? Like, you even ride a Magic Carpet in Super Mario 64. Shoot, I don't know. We've had some carts, we've had some bikes. Let's give a little bit of love to the other vehicle class, the ATV, with a Hanbone ATV. These are just like the skeleton fish enemies that look like this. They've kind of been phased out for the dry bones fish looking guys, but the official art of these are terrifying. An ATV themed after this would be sick. And then next we have a Hot Roderick cart. The Hot Roderick is a boss in Wario Land Shake It, but you cannot tell me that this doesn't look like a Mario Kart cart. If you could just steal his car and then race in it in Mario Kart, I mean, that would be incredible. If you grab a pink baby Yoshi, you can make it massive. And hey, I don't know about you, but that looks like a good idea for a glider. And then next up, well, I don't even, this one's Mac's idea. I'm gonna just let him take it.
So listen, you remember those cute little seal guys from Super Mario Odyssey? Remember that really fun minigame on the bounding tracks? Ever since I laid my eyes on these guys during Super Mario Odyssey, I knew that they had to be incorporated into Mario Kart in some way or another. What if we had a set of wheels called Chevarian Spheres, which is made from the blubber of the Chevarians? I think these wheels could be an amazing addition to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Okay, side note, Mac, you've brought this idea up to me in conversations in the past. Why are you so infatuated with this idea of skinning these cute Chevarians and then putting their blubber on wheels?
Yeah, I've been on this one for a while.
One of the wheels I created are called Chevarian Spheres, which is made from the blubber of the Chevarians from the Snow Kingdom.
That is so messed up.
Okay, moving right along, Yoshi's wagon. It's from Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. It looks like a wagon that holds Yoshi eggs, and I want to be able to drive in it in Mario Kart. Welcome now to the final 10 ideas. These are going to be the best ones, and thank God they're not going to be Mario themed because we were clearly stretching it at the end with the Chevarian blubber bit. All right, coming in at 41, we have Samus's gunship. This would be actually really cool. I think this is almost like this needs to happen at some point. I mean, hey, they could literally use the Rocket League car if they needed to. At number 42, we have the SS Dolphin, which is the delivery ship from the original Pikmin. I hope if they add this in, they would also then add in Olimar as a playable character, but who knows. Next, we have the R-Wing. This could literally work as a cart or a glider. I think it would just be so cool. The Lightning Chariot cart from Kid Icarus would be hilarious to see. The Lightning Chariot is used in Kid Icarus Uprising and his final smash, and the design is kind of drippy if I'm being honest. Coming in at number 45, we have the Poke Float glider. Poke Float is one of the smash stages that never came back. Rest in peace, Poke Float, but please Nintendo, at least give us like a Pokemon float glider thing. Next up, wheels, but they're Metroid. They spin and yeah, that would be funny to me. I don't know, I can just imagine it and I think it's funny. Coming in at number 47, okay, this one is tough. The Blue Falcon is already in the game, but the Bloodhawk is, in my opinion, the coolest F-Zero kart and needs to be added into Mario Kart. As if the Bloodhawk already isn't cool enough. In Japan, they call this thing the Hellhawk. That is probably the toughest name I've ever heard in my life. The Hellhawk, that is sick. Going from one of the coolest things ever to, well, Nintendo Labo. Seriously though, this cardboard bird would make an excellent glider. I mean, it has the wings, it has everything it needs. 49, we have the Halberd, Meta Knight's insane ship. That would be a cart. And then last but not least, we have an eggplant themed glider. This is from Ice Climbers. I just think it would be hilarious. Don't ask why. And with that out of the way, we've made it through 50 different cart, gliders, and wheels. And now it's time. Nothing changes a Mario Kart race quite like the items. And this part of the video video is definitely the craziest because some of these item ideas are absolutely wild. So let's just jump right on into this with number 1, the golden shell. This is an idea Mac had a while back. The golden shell would hit a random character, kind of like a blue shell, except instead of honing in on first, it would just screw a random person over. I don't really like that mechanic at all, but it would be funny. And we already have something like the boo, which takes an item from a random person, so it would kind of work. Number 2, we have the mini mushroom, which is from the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Obviously, getting small in Mario Kart is not necessarily a good thing. If you get lightning shocked in any Mario Kart game, you become super small, and in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you can get run over, and that just like ruins your entire day. But fortunately, the mini mushroom hopefully would actually have some benefit. If you were able to get super small, maybe if you use the mini mushroom, you weren't able to get run over, maybe you could retain your same speed and just be able to dodge items and be smaller and have a smaller hitbox. Number 3 is the super bell, which makes your character into a cat, except that wouldn't work in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for a bunch of reasons. A, they'd have to make a ton of new models, and B, there's already Cat Peach in the game. So instead, this would do something else. Using the super bell would summon those little cats from Bowser's Fury that never really did anything but were just there, and they would run along with you and kind of jump out and kill other opponents or fetch you items, kind of like a souped up version of the piranha plant, but actually good because the piranha plant is probably my least favorite item in the game. The bonsai bill is the red version of the bullet bill, and this one will go out of its way to just hit as many people as it can. For balancing reasons, it probably wouldn't go as far as the normal bullet bill, but it would just be a member of mass destruction. It would just absolutely destroy everyone in front of you, and that would be super funny. Coming in at number 5, we have the drill power-up. Now, I'm pretty sure that the drill power-up was originally what Mario Kart 8's main gimmick was supposed to be. Is that true, Mac? Was Mario Kart 8's main gimmick was the drill power-up originally? So adding it back into 8 Deluxe would be super cool. You could essentially dig underground, come up. If you came up and someone was, driving on top of you, you would just absolutely destroy them. It would be an interesting power-up and a cool callback to Mario Galaxy because that was an actual power-up in that game. Next, we have the Ultra Hand, which already makes an appearance in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as it's actually what holds up GBA Mario Circuit's anti-gravity section in that course. Now, what is the Ultra Hand? The Ultra Hand is a toy that Nintendo made before video games were their main product, and it basically just goes out and grabs something, and that's about it. They've come a long way, Nintendo. But seriously, the Ultra Hand could go out and grab people and then pull them back and cause them to spin out, and it could have multiple uses too. It would be like if the boomerang would always hit someone, so like a red shell version of the boomerang. Number 7, we have the Inky Piranha Plant. Now, in Bangkok Rush on Mario Kart Tour, these things actually were on a section of the track, and if they, instead of biting you like a normal piranha plant would, they would throw like blooper gunk on your screen and kind of mess up your vision. Unfortunately, they weren't brought over into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's version of Bangkok Rush, but maybe that just means that they're going to be added in as an item instead. What they could do here is they could just shoot out random oil spills that would screw up anyone behind you if they ran into them. The next item on this list is a giant subscribe button. This item will block your screen and interrupt your viewing experience, and the only way to get rid of it is to hit the subscribe button. For number 8, we have Nabbit, who could steal coins. We have the Boo that could steal items. Why not Nabbit that just completely steals all the coins from every other racer, resetting them back to 0? That would be super overpowered because it would affect everyone, but it would be super cool nonetheless. For number 9, we have Mario Odyssey's, semi-protagonist. We have Cappy. Now, this one would be so cool, but it's very difficult to see implemented into Mario Kart. I mean, if you throw someone and hit them with Cappy, you could control them. How would that work? Well, A, you could either just kind of be auto-steered while you're controlling the other person and, just absolutely ruining their day. Or alternatively, you could then be controlling both you and them, which would add a strategic angle to this power-up because you don't want to just drive directly off because then that would screw you over too. So you might want to save it for certain turns, so you throw it to someone, and then as you're doing the turn, you're still controlling someone else and you're turning, but obviously there is no turn for them because they might be up further on the track and you just drive them into a wall. For number 10, we have the Poltergeist. This would basically just suck up everything around you. It would make other people around you spin out. It could grab coins from a distance. It would overall be a great power-up, and I mean, it's the Poltergeist. It should totally be in there. For number 11, we have the Feather. This is already a power-up in the game. It's just only in battle mode. Don't know why it's only in battle mode. It really kind of annoys me. I think they should totally put it in, at least as an option for custom items. Like, it doesn't even have to be in normal. Just put it in customs, please. Number 12, we have the Mega Mushroom, and this brings us to a list of items that already exist, so I'm gonna go through these ones pretty quick. Mega Mushroom makes you big. You can run over people. That's about it. Number 13, we have the Boost Ring from Mario Kart Tour. Basically, it shoots out 3 little boost rings, and if you go through them, you get a small
boost. Not as big as a mushroom, but it's more engaging because you have to actually drive through them and other people can use them too. Number 14 is the fake item box from Mario Kart Wii. Number 15 is the Thundercloud. This is the one I don't want them to bring back at all, but if we're going through old items, I have to do it. Number 16 is the POW block. 17 is the Ice Flower from Mario Kart Tour. 18 is the Yoshi egg, and 19 is the Birdo egg. The Yoshi and Birdo egg basically do the same thing. It's essentially a red shell that homes in, and when it hits someone else, it shoots out random items like a banana or a mushroom or maybe even a star that can then be picked up off the ground and used just like if they were shocked out of someone. Number 20, we have the Chain Chomp, which was an item in Mario Kart Double Dash, and number 21, we have the Giant Banana, a big banana that if you hit it, it splits into 3 smaller bananas. 22, we have the Bowser Shell, and number 23, we have the Heart. This is essentially just a shield that protects you from one item. It stays for a pretty long time. Yeah, it's a good item. Number 24, we have the Tanuki Tail, and at number 25, we have the Double Bomb, once again from Mario Kart Tour. Speaking of Mario Kart Tour, number 26 is the Bubble, and if they were to add this in, they definitely have to make you be able to pop out of the bubble because they added that feature into Mario Kart Tour as well. But overall, I do not like the bubble at all. It's just a worse bullet bill. I think it's one of the worst items ever in Mario Kart. For number 27, we have the Mushroom Cannon, and number 28, we have the Banana Barrel. These are basically items that shoot out, either mushrooms or bananas, and if they're bananas, obviously you have to dodge them, but it'll shoot out a bunch, so the enemies do too. And if it's mushrooms, it shoots them out in a relatively straight line, so hopefully you're able to use all those mushrooms, but if you miss them, then other people can use them, so it's a little risk versus reward for you. Number 29, we have the Hammer. It's essentially just a Hammer Bros hammer translated directly into Mario Kart. It works pretty well. And number 30, we have the Coin Box. Obviously, this is a lot more important in Mario Kart Tour. It's the most important item in that game because it essentially allows you to run up your combo meter an insane amount, but luckily there are no combo meters in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. All you have to focus about is racing and not chaining together drifts to run up a, essentially meaningless score. With that being said, the Coin Box would still be pretty cool. Last Mario Kart Tour item, we have the Giga Bomb. This is a massive bomb that can be thrown by King Bomb in that game, and a couple other characters have that item as well. I just think it would be hilarious. This thing gets thrown in front of you and the entire track gets blown up. If we saw that in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it would make me raging online, but it would be fun overall. Moving on to number 32, we have the Teleport. Basically, a little reticle would show up on your screen whenever you have this item and are close enough to someone else in front of you. You use it and boom, you immediately switch places with them. Kind of a spin-off of that, 33 would be the Warp Pipe. If you use the Warp Pipe, a giant pipe opens up right in front of you and it would just teleport you further up on the track. It wouldn't teleport anyone else back though. For number 34, 35, and 36, we have the Plunger, the Boot, and the Tornado. Now, these are actually items from Rocket League. If you ever play the game mode Rumble in that game, basically you just get a bunch of items. It's really hectic and it's super fun. It's probably my favorite way to play that game when I'm not like sweat tryharding with my friends. Basically in that game, the Plunger will grab a ball and bring it towards wherever you are, but in this game, it would grab someone in front of you and bring them back. The Boot kicks someone in Rocket League and it would do the exact same thing here. You would just be able to kick people, essentially, like imagine having a giant boot that could just extend from your car, hit someone on Rainbow Road, they would go flying. Controller through the wall, but I mean, that's just Mario Kart for you. And then number 36 is the Tornado. A giant tornado appears right above you and anything that drives remotely near you gets picked up into it and you essentially are just in control of them. They have no ownership over their own car, which is a funny mechanic in Rocket League and would translate, again, hilariously to Mario Kart. For number 37, we have a Bullet Bill Launcher. You see these all the time in 2D and 3D Marios, the little black, column things that shoot out bullet bills. Now, obviously, bullet bills in Mario Kart mean something completely different, so you'd have to go with like a small version of them. But having a bullet bill launcher strapped to your car that constantly shot out bullets, maybe it shot out like 5 or 7 in total, but you don't get to control when they shoot, so it's slightly less useful than maybe like triple greens, but it shoots out more in total. For number 38, we have an extension of the feather. We have the Frog Suit. You know that part of Mushroom Gorge when you're going over all the mushrooms in the cave and you're just bouncing all over the place? That would just be what the Frog Suit gives you. Would it be a good power-up? I don't know. Depends on the part. Would it be a fun power-up? Oh yeah, every time. Number 39, we have the Paint Roller. Now, if they wanted to, they could go with the Splat Roller from Splatoon, or they could just use any paint roller and, I don't know, maybe say it's a throwback to Mario Paint on the SNES. Regardless, a paint roller would basically just stay right in front of you, and it would be a giant hitbox, so if you bump into anyone and hit them with the paint roller, they would spin out, but it could also leave a trail of paint that could slow down other opponents. I would totally love to see the Metal Cap. This will obviously never in a million years happen because Metal Mario getting the Metal Cap would be, like, that doesn't even work. But if you could just get an item like the Metal Cap that turned your character metal and suddenly you were, like, the heaviest character in the game, it wouldn't change any of your other stats, but, like, if someone bumped into you, they would get sent flying. That would be funny. For 41, we have a 1-up life. This one would be super interesting. What if this was an item where if you use it, nothing happens? Maybe you get a coin. But if you hold on to it and then fall off, the 1-up item automatically gets used and Lakitu instantly, like, teleports you back up to the track with a mushroom boost to get you back up to full speed. So it's essentially just a, a do-over in case you fall off. Number 42 would be the Double cherry. This would essentially give you a clone of yourself and act kind of as an extra life. But until you lose that clone, maybe there's like a 30-second timer. If you were to ever use, you know, a mushroom, both clones would get that mushroom. If you were to ever drop a banana, you drop 2 bananas. Coming in at number 43, we have the propeller cap. This is obviously from New Super Mario Bros. Wii. This thing would just absolutely launch you in the air. It would be a shortcut machine. Number 44 could totally be the acorn suit from New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, or obviously the original one on the Wii U. This one would be neat. You get a giant gust of wind that takes you way far up, and you immediately maybe either get like, you know, the acorn squirrel wings or whatever, or it just puts you in a glider mode. Regardless, you're essentially able to just get a massive boost up into the air and then glide on down as if you had just went off a glider ramp. This would obviously be massive for avoiding a bunch of ground items, or if there's like just a, you know, a whole group of people throwing items at each other, comboing each other, this could just kind of escape you from that. Number 45 is something that I think should have been in the game from the beginning. I think you should be able to get a bag of coins, which instantly fills your coin meter up to 10. I know it's not the most exciting power up, but there are times in the game where you have a bunch of coins and then, well, Mario Kart happens and you lose them all. Being able to get them all back in one foul swoop would be super nice. Number 46 is a stopwatch. This would basically be a super horn, but instead of just attacking anyone around you, it would slow them down. Kind of like Bayonetta's Witch Time from Smash Bros. It would just completely slow them down for a little bit. Their inputs would essentially be registered useless, and then they'd be able to, you know, continue back on going. All right, the final 4 items here are absolutely crazy. These ones will never be added, never in a million years. They probably shouldn't be added, but I just think they're too funny to, you know, be like not put in here. The first one is fire wheels. This literally sets your wheels on fire and you just start going at like Mach 10. Like imagine when you're spamming a golden mushroom and you know how you can like kind of barely control where you're going, but you're also going at a bazillion miles an hour. It would be kind of like that. 48 would be Rivali's Gale. This could essentially just act as the propeller, but it would give you the power of flight anywhere. You could just literally fly anywhere. You could go up, you could go down. A little nod to Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. If that ability is coming back, we don't know. Number 49 takes me back to one of my favorite video games of all time, Rayman Legend. This game is crazy, and in the final world, there are like some remixes of the music levels, but the screen gets all sorts of wonky. There are parts where there's like a million Raymans on the screen. There's parts where it's black and white. There's parts where it gets super pixelated. This would essentially just be like a blooper on steroids. It would mess up everyone else's screen, or just the person, I guess, you target with it. I don't know. And it would be super funny to watch. And number 50 is the Power Orb. This is from Mario Strikers Battle League. Remember that game? No, you don't, because you didn't buy it. But regardless, this Power Orb would essentially allow you to shoot out a giant beam of power, annihilating anyone in your path. Is that what the Power Orb does in Mario Strikers? Probably not. Don't know. Never played the game. But I think it's too funny of an opportunity to not pass up, so there we go.
Remember at the start when I mentioned that super secret bonus content? Well, you finally made it. Here it is. We've talked about new characters, but what about something different entirely? What if each one of those characters got a bunch of brand new costumes, alternate costumes you could race as? That's right, let's jump in, starting off with the main plumber himself, Mario. Now, to be fair, Mario kind of already has 3 alternate costumes in the game, those being Metal Mario, Gold Mario, and Tanuki Mario. For simplicity's sake, I put these here in this graphic, but if Nintendo were to add in alternate costumes, they wouldn't then suddenly make Tanuki Mario into an alternate costume for Mario, simply because Tanuki Mario and Metal Mario have different stats and weight from normal Mario. All the alternate costumes would just be the exact same stats as the normal driver. I just put it here because it looks better. Alright, so the 5 alternate costumes that we have for normal Mario are Dr. Mario, who is absolutely iconic. I mean, he's the only clone version of Mario in Smash Bros, so that's gotta mean something. SNES Mario, which is actually really cool. In Mario Kart Tour, there's a Mario SNES version that's this weird 2D pixel art, but in a 3D aesthetic. I would love to see that somehow make its way into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Following that up, we have Musician Mario. This takes his musician outfit from Mario Kart Tour and mainly Mario Odyssey, because honestly, I think the musician outfit is one of the coolest Odyssey original fits, followed up by Builder Mario, obviously from Mario Maker. Last but not least, we have Royal King Mario, and luckily, all of these characters are actually in Mario Kart Tour, so logistically, I could totally see these make their way over. They already have the models. All they would need to do is maybe spruce them up a little bit and then just drag and drop convert them over. I mean, modders have literally been doing this for years. It wouldn't be that difficult at all for Nintendo. Moving on though, over to Mario's brother Luigi. I love Luigi, but in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you enjoy Luigi, you can only race as Luigi. So many other characters have clones. Bowser has Dry Bowser, Peach has Pink Gold and Cat Peach, but Luigi is just stuck all alone. Let's fix that. We're gonna start off with Luigi Vacation, because I think seeing the Luigi death stare player from Mario Kart 8, but with these sick glasses would be hilarious. Next, we have Cat Luigi. I mean, Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach are already in the game. And then Dr. Luigi. Funnily enough, Dr. Luigi actually has his entire own game on the Wii U, so this one isn't as far-fetched as you might think. Then we have Knight Luigi, Builder Luigi, again from the Super Mario Maker games. Then we have three of my absolute favorite alts in all of Mario Kart Tour. Luigi as his painter variation, Luigi in his golf outfit, and last but not least, Chef Luigi. Cooking up some shells and bananas to hurl at enemies, I think that is absolutely perfect. Within these 9 costumes, I was looking for a way to maybe fit in the Poltergeist somewhere, because it feels weird to not have a Luigi's Mansion reference, but just to be honest, I couldn't really think of one. Luigi doesn't really have a different costume in Luigi's Mansion to my knowledge, he just kind of wears the Poltergeist on his back. If you have any ideas on how to get the Poltergeist into the game though, let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there, why don't you use the Poltergeist to shoot a plunger at that subscribe button? Only 5% of our audience is subscribed, that's crazy. So just check, you might think you're subscribed but you're not actually, and now let's jump into Princess Peach's costumes, because these ones are pretty cool. Of course we have Cat Peach and Pink Gold Peach, which are obviously already in the game, but now we have Peachette. Funnily enough, Peachette actually isn't a reskin of Peach. If anything, she'd technically be a reskin of Toadette, because in the new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe game, you get Peachette when you play as Toadette and then get the Super Crown power-up, but I mean, it's clearly Peach. Like, if they're gonna add Peachette into the game, it would be as a Peach reskin. Editor's note, they added Peachette to the game, and it looks like she's not a Peach reskin, so feel free to flame me in the comments down below. Next, we have Peach Vacation, and then Peach Wintertime. Peach Wintertime is one of my favorite tour ults, because it's actually the same version of Peach that you see in Super Mario Odyssey when you visit Peach on the Moon Kingdom. I just love little Easter eggs like that. And then moving right along, we have Dr. Peach. Next, we have Yukata Peach. I love this design in the little King Boo she uses as, like, I guess a beret. And then last but not least, one of the most iconic outfits from Super Mario Odyssey, Princess Peach in her wedding gown. I seriously think Odyssey needs a bunch more references in Mario Kart. I mean, to my knowledge, I don't think there's any here. So that's why I picked that. Let's move on now to Daisy. Now, not all of the characters we're gonna get into in this video have all 9 alternate costumes. It's just not feasible. Some of them, it would just be an insane stretch, but to be honest, for some reason, Mario Kart Tour loves adding in Daisy alts, so we got to 9 pretty easily here. First, we have the Holiday Cheer version of Daisy, followed by the Fairy version of Daisy, with this cool little sunflower headdress. Following that up, we have a Farmer version of Daisy, and then Daisy Swimwear, again from Mario Kart Tour. We had Peach Yakuta, so Daisy Yakuta seems like a given. I love that the little boo that Peach had is now replaced with a Cheep Cheep. And then Daisy Tie Dress. I mean, I guess this makes sense because Bangkok Rush is already in the game. And then next up, we have Sailor Daisy. Last but not least, we have Orange Bronze Daisy. Orange Bronze Daisy is a completely fan-made version of Daisy, but honestly, I think it fits. I mean, we have Pink Gold Peach, Orange Bronze Daisy just kind of tracks. Put her in the game. Next, we have Rosalina. We're starting off with Rosalina Halloween with this cool witch hat, and then honestly, probably the coolest alt in all of Mario Kart Tour, Aurora Rosalina. I think this design, like her dress is just so cool. I love the kind of like, it leans into the Galaxy aesthetic, which obviously makes sense because she's from Mario Galaxy. I don't know, I think this dress is super cool. Next, we have Rosalina Swimwear, followed by Fire Rosalina. Funnily enough, this is the exact dress that she wears when she gets a Fire Flower in Super Mario 3D World. And speaking of 3D World, we have then Tanuki Rosalina. After that, we have Rosalina Chef with the tall chef hat, and then Rosalina Volendam. Last but not least, rounding out the 3D World trilogy, we got Fire, we got Tanuki, yup, it had to happen, Cat Rosalina. I honestly kind of always loved this design because you would assume that it's just going to be like that light blue typical Rosalina color, but it actually goes with like a really dark, I don't even know if that's a really dark blue or gray or something. I just like the color, I think it looks really good. Alright, after Rosalina, we have Tanuki and Cat Peach, which obviously don't really count for anything because they're just clones of other characters. Although at least for Tanuki Mario, if we were getting really technical, you could give him the white Tanuki variant, which you get in 3D World, as like that game's kind of assist mode. Yoshi obviously already has a bunch of colored alts. Alright, time to cook with Toad. Ironically, I thought this one was going to be difficult, but Toad has so many alternate costumes, it's almost impossible to choose just 9. First, we have Builder Toad, and then Cat Toad, again from Super Mario 3D World. I just get used to it. As soon as I can put a 3D World reference in this video, I will. But then we get into the more iconic stuff, such as Captain Toad. This is just Toad with a headlamp and a bit of a backpack, but I love the Captain Toad game and levels in 3D World. We absolutely need to see this little guy come on over. And then we have Astronaut Toad. Astronaut Toad is actually already in the game. You can see him on the menu. There's a bunch of them bumping around on the Mario Kart 8 original Rainbow Road, so it just makes sense to add him in. And then we have Penguin Toad from the new Super Mario Bros. Wii game. So for the final 3 on this little graphic I made, you can tell that it's all the different pit crew levels of Toad. I just went for the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. But to be honest, there are so many versions of pit crew Toad in Mario Kart Kart Tour that they could give you even more. They could let you like choose the exact color. Next we have Koopa. I think he just deserves a bunch of Koopa free running alts. There are a bunch of these characters in Mario Kart Tour. Obviously they originated from Mario Odyssey. Just give them the different colors of the Koopa free running. And hey, maybe if they wanted to get really creative and do a little bit of cross promotion here, they could give us the blue Koopa from the Super Mario Bros. Movie. That would be kind of funny because he obviously, well, spoiler I guess, he turns into a blue shell in that movie. So if you like threw or got hit with a blue shell as you're playing as that guy, it would just kind of be funny. Shy Guy once again already has his alternate costumes cut out for us, but then Lakitu, this is where it gets weird. Now we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. For Lakitu, I would suggest just giving him his party time outfit. That's the only alt he has in Tour, and it's the only way I can possibly think of giving him an alt, unless you just wanted to maybe like, I don't know, give him like a different color shell or something. Toadette I thought was going to be difficult, but was actually super easy. They love giving Toadette different alts in Tour, and it starts with Captain Toadette, or Explorer Toadette. Next we have Penguin Toadette, and then Builder Toadette. Last but not least, we have Toadette Sailor and Toadette Astronaut. I think that's like a very well-rounded group of 6 alternate costumes for Toadette. For King Boo, we have his Luigi's Mansion variant, which is like a completely different color palette, a lot more purple, has a big gem on the top of his head, and then just a gold version of King Boo. I mean, that's already in Mario Kart Tour, why not just put it in the game? All right, for the babies, okay, here this gets a little difficult. Technically, we could just give the babies their alternate costumes from Tour, even though they are very, very lame. You got stuff like Baby Peach, Cherub, or Baby Rosalina, Detective. Please, I want to play as my favorite Mario character, Baby Mario Koala. Baby Luigi and Baby Daisy don't have any variants in Tour, but considering the bar is so low for the other ones, Nintendo could just come up with something. I don't know, these are the only characters that I feel like just don't really deserve alternate costumes at all. If you guys can think of any though, you already know what to do. Let me know down in the comments. Metal Mario obviously already has Gold Mario, and then Pink Gold Peach could just have like a silver metal version of Peach, or just any reskin of that metallic version of Peach. All right, next let's get into Wario, and this is where it gets a little tricky. So for Wario, we start off with base Wario, but then it had to happen. Wario's WarioWare outfit, Smash Bros calls him like Biker Wario. I just call him WarioWare because, I mean, that's what he's from. I would absolutely love this. I love the WarioWare games, so this reference would be super cool. Then we have Cowboy Wario, followed up by Hiker Wario from Mario Kart Tour, then Gold Wario. I wanted to think of some sort of like pink gold or like, you know, orange bronze type version of Wario I could say here, but to be honest, it just makes the most sense for Wario to be gold. I mean, all he does is care about money and all that. Gold Wario just makes too much sense. Last but not least, we have this alternate from Smash Ultimate. I don't know if this originates from anything. I just like the red hat. I think it's kind of funny because that's Mario's colors, but Wario's wearing them. Next, we have Waluigi. First, we have Waluigi Bus Driver and then Waluigi Vampire. I think a vampire version of Waluigi is hilarious because it's not something I would have thought of, but now that Mario Kart Tour made that into an actual thing, it's like, oh yeah, Waluigi's totally a vampire. I mean, look at the guy. Last but not least, we have Amethyst Waluigi. I don't know, something metal related. I just didn't want him to feel left out. If Wario gets an alternate like metal version costume, then Waluigi does too. Next, we have Donkey Kong. I'm gonna be honest, I think the Smash Ultimate versions of Donkey Kong are fine. They get the job done. It's still clearly Donkey Kong, but he looks a little different enough because of the color swaps that he looks cool. I think you just give us the other versions of Donkey Kong that are in Smash Ultimate. They kind of all look fine to me. Next, we have Bowser, and oh man, some of Bowser's alternate costumes are my favorite in this entire video. First, we have Dry Bowser, who is obviously already in the game, but is basically just a clone of Bowser, so for, you know, simplicity's sake, we're putting him here. And then Gold Dry Bowser from Mario Kart Tour, which I think looks sick. His like blue eyes are really cool. Then Dr. Bowser, who gave this man his medical license? He should not be a practicing doctor. And then Santa Bowser. I don't know why Bowser has a Santa variant. He's more kind of like the Grinch than Santa, but it works. And then, and this would be the only character I ever drove with if they added this into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Meowser. Bowser with the Super Bell, the final boss of Super Mario 3D World. This would be amazing. Next, we have Dry Bones. Just give him a gold variant. And then Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. only has one variant in Tour, but it's one of the coolest variants in that entire game. Give me Pirate Bowser Jr., please. Dry Bowser obviously has Gold Dry Bowser, but I also kind of just put him in Bowser's alternate costume, so that makes more sense to me. And then, oh boy, the Koopalings. What type of alternate costume do we do here? Well, we can't look to Tour because only one of them actually has an alternate costume, and I'm sorry, but Larry Wintertime is not gonna cut it. This is so dumb. This does not need to be in the game. Instead, what I think they should do is lean into the kind of pixel art in 3D aesthetic that I brought up at the start of this video with SNES Mario, and just give us pixelated versions of the Koopalings that throw back to their original appearances in Super Mario Bros. 3. They already have like designs for them in pixel art, obviously from Mario 3, but if they wanted to, they could take ones from Super Mario World or the original Super Mario Bros. Game, because they got added in Mario Maker. They had to make new pixel art for them there, so it kind of works. That's the best idea I had with the Koopalings, because again, I don't think any of them deserve
actual alternate costumes.
Although if we want to get really creative, you could match certain Koopalings up with Broodals from Mario Odyssey. So Wendy would be Harriet, Morton would probably be Topper, maybe, Iggy would be Rango. I don't know, they'd have to figure it out, but I would like to play as these malicious rabbits in Mario Kart. I think that's cool. Moving on to the final row, Inkling Boy and Inkling Girl both have alternate costumes, and obviously so does Link with his Breath of the Wild all. However, both villagers do not. Honestly, I would have bet money that they did. I just assumed that they already had alternate costumes, but they don't. Luckily, this is probably the easiest one in this game. Literally any type of other villager would work. I would just give them their Smash variants to kind of have that cross promotion between Mario Kart and Smash, and also I just think the Smash variants look good. And that leaves us with just one character remaining, and that is Isabelle. Now, the smart answer here is Digby. Digby is Isabelle's brother, so I mean, they're the same species and everything. They're related. It makes more sense for them to be alternate costumes of each other, but we're not here to make sense. We're here to have fun. Give me Tom Nook. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. It took a while to make. In fact, I'm sure a lot of you already knew this, but this video is actually just 4 videos I've already made on the channel. I just compiled them all here for you guys because it all makes sense. Like in my head, these were a series. The series was completed, so I might as well just compile it all for one place. If you made it this far, I know I've said it multiple times throughout this video, but if you made it this far, a subscription does really mean the world. I'm Thomas from the Switch Stop signing off. Peace.